Hey guys, what's going on? Hey. You know what time it is? It's the real biz life time. It is time to go into my business lab. We are going to dissect the good, the ugly, and the strategy, right? Let's talk about the bad too. What's going on, guys? It's your chief visionary, Natasha Davis. I'm very excited to be here. Another day for me to drop some golden nuggets, have some fun. I hope you have had a phenomenal week so far. Also, I hope that you were able to implement some of the tips and the hashtag golden nuggets that I gave you last week. You know, last week we were talking about doing it for the leads, not for the likes, right? Did you actually take a look at what you're doing, kind of unpack that, uncover that, and kind of see, okay, am I chasing the like or am I chasing the lead? What am I doing here? I hope you are doing amazing, first and foremost. You know what I mean? And also, please and thank you. Don't forget to go invite somebody to come join this party because today we are going to dissect the high levels of strategic planning and what that really looks like. So don't be stingy. Go and tell somebody to come hang out with your girl, come hang out with us and join this party. So they're not what? You know what I'm going to say? Tardy, right? So listen. One of the things that I learned a lot this particular week was, do you guys know that there is a whole nother level of like high level like dining experience, right? So if you go out and you get to a restaurant or something like that, there's like this Michelin score and it goes up to a 3. And when they're a 3, it's like top notch. And so a lot of independently owned, family owned restaurants, especially in other countries, even here in the US, they are striving for that number 3. Like they're not striving for 5, right? There is no 5. They're striving for 3. And if they're like on this Michelin 3 scale, they're like top notch. Like, so I learned that this week. So listen, what did you learn new this week? Did you learn something new this week? We all learned something, but did you actually internalize that newness that you learned? Because throughout the day, throughout the week, even the month of the year, we're always learning something new. So, what did you learn new? Like, drop it in the chat. Let me know. I'm interested. What did you learn that was new? Or did you know about this Michelin 3 score with restaurants? My restaurateurs who own restaurants, I know you know about this, but for us who like to come and consume, hello, you know. But yeah, tell me, what did you learn? Did you learn anything new? All right. So listen, drop that in the chat room. Let me find out. Did you learn something new? All right. So you know what? Every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we get together so that we can dissect the good, the bad, and the strategy to real business, right? To having the business, having a scalable business, having a profitable business. And I get to pick apart different pieces, right? Because business is enormous and it has so many moving parts, between not only the marketing, but also the actual operations, the financial components of business, right? Oh, don't forget the manpower components of business, the compliance components of business. And so here we get together so we can break it down and make it digestible and make it consumable. And I want you to be able to lean into the business and look at the possibilities, but uncomplicate it. Again, I told you guys, I have been passionate about normalizing and simplifying strategic planning, but uncomplicating the complicated things as well. It's really important to me, right? All right. So listen, today I want to touch base on strategic planning, right? And a lot of maybe small companies, excuse me, my throat's dry early this morning, yes, she did take a sip of water live. I sure did. This is why it's live. I'm thirsty. You guys don't want your chief visionary choking, do you? Of course not. So listen, so we know that strategic planning We hear it, right? It's like this sexy word that gets thrown around. But do we really know what strategic planning truly is? Do we understand the purpose and the importance and the value of strategic planning from a place of, being able to apply it? Let's start there. Do we understand it from a place of application? Do we understand what strategic planning is so we can apply it and we can profit from it? So let's talk about what strategic planning really is. Strategic planning basically it's just a series of intentional decisions and actions. That's it. Intentional decisions and actions. What are you intentionally seeking to do? And how are you going to take action upon it consistently as well as intentionally? The key thing that tends to happen a lot is a lot of times businesses, they have this big, amazing idea, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna gobble up the world in one fell swoop, right? However, there was no plan on how you gonna gobble this thing up. You think you're just gonna eat it in one fell swoop. You can't do that. And so what then happens is right after the big massive plan and the great ideas comes disappointment, because there was no structure, there were no steps, there was no intention put in place on how are we going to accomplish things like this. And one of these weeks I'm going to break down the power of positioning your how correctly, and I'm going to tell you, I'll show you what I mean by that, right? So let's talk about the strategic plan. So we have these very clear outlines. Here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm going, right? And in strategic planning, we ask these very, very clear questions. What do you want? What are you actively doing? Who do you need? When do you need to achieve this? And then we break it down into the how are we going to achieve this, right? So normally when I encounter people, I hear a lot about the what we're doing. Here's what we want, 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 right? But then when I start to ask those deep questions of why do you need this? Tell me, why are we pursuing this? Because if we don't know why we're going for it, it has no value, it has no weight, it has no purpose, it has no importance. Okay. Why are we doing this? Right. Then who do we need on board to make this happen? The greatest misconception is that companies think small businesses, my large companies don't have this particular issue as it relates to strategic planning, but my small businesses do. My smaller businesses do. There is this misconception, or I would say like this oversight or possible delusion, that you don't need people to get the strategic plan implemented. You can't do it alone because there are so many moving pieces to it. Even if you don't have someone actively implementing, you must have someone that is supporting the movement of the plan, including yourself. When you put this strategy out and you say, this is what we need, and this is when we need it by, right? Well, who is going to do what needs to be done? Small businesses tend to not show up 100%. You got to be all in all the time. You have to be what? All in all the time. The vision, the plan, the business doesn't mobilize in your absence. This is not like some, let me throw it out in the atmosphere and then walk away from it. Like, we have to put intention to it. And so when we look at the strategy and the components of it, here's two things we have to look at when it comes to strategic planning. There is a actual strategic part to it, the planning part to it, and then there's a tactical component to it. Okay. So when we step into strategic planning, are we looking at all components that are involved? It's not enough just to plan, because guess what? Let me tell you, a plan without an action is just a plain old wish. It's an expensive hobby. It is a very expensive hobby. When you don't have a good action steps intentional actions with the plan, you will make a lot of expensive, fruitless decisions, right? And that's where people tend to get frustrated. That's where I'll hear a lot of small businesses that'll get frustrated and they say, well, certain parts of marketing doesn't work, certain parts of strategic planning doesn't work, or they don't want to take the time to do it. I actually made a comment, a post the other day, and I said, you know what? It's been proven for every $1 that you spend in planning, you're saving $10 in implementation. You have got to plan your next move. And on top of that, one of the things that I know I do specifically is I always have a contingency. Like, what's the risk to your plan being interrupted or disrupted? And when that risk shows up, this is how we're going to deal with it. No surprises. See, you want to go with what? Eyes wide open when you're leaning into making some moves. Okay. So that's the key thing, is also just looking at, listen, I got to make sure that I'm not focused. I'm not getting confused with just motion, right? It's like being that human hamster on a wheel. You're going and going and going and going, but you're not going anywhere at all, right? You're going fast, but you actually aren't moving at all. And that actually is painful. It's emotionally draining. It's expensive. Let me tell you what, it is expensive. So strategic planning, we need to normalize and simplify that. And that is the journey. That's the mission that I've been on over the past like 12 plus years. How do we uncomplicate these complex things? How do we make sure, my goal is making sure that people understand it's not that hard. We just need to stop moving for 1 second. Stop moving and let's think and let's put a clear action step. And then, you know what? Let's trust the process and let's stick to the plan. I cannot tell you how much it breaks my heart, genuinely breaks my heart, when I encounter a business owner who refuses to respect strategy. Because when I'm standing back and looking at it, I am watching the demise. I am literally seeing it, and I'm trying to stop it. And when I come across a business owner who refuses to respect strategy, who refuses to respect the process, who refuses to implement, right? Not only am I watching the demise, but I'm of the vision, but I'm watching money being wasted, resources being wasted. And it is the most heartbreaking thing for me. And it also, quite frankly, for lack of better words, it just pisses me off, because I'm like, if you would just stop 1 second and implement the strategy, you know how far we would be? Do you know how far we would be? It's like, do you not see this? Why don't you see this? Why? Right? All right. So let me share with you, like I said, a plan without an action is a basic wish, or more worse, it's an expensive hobby, right? So one of the things that I found out is that 86% of business owners, especially small to medium-sized business owners, they spend less than 1 hour per month. I want you to catch that. 1 hour per month discussing the strategy for the business. And when I look at that, 60% of the companies, they don't even link their strategy to their operations. They don't link strategy to the finances, to the budget. Whoever told you that strategic planning doesn't cost, they lied to you. Your chief visionary is here to tell you the truth. You have been duped. You have been bamboozled. You've been lied to. Rolling out strategy, implementing a plan, scaling a company, launching a product or a service, it costs money. And it also has to be linked to operations, right? Linking your strategy to your operations, man, let me tell you what, it's golden. It is absolutely golden. So ask yourself, when was the last time you even really spent real time at strategy, looking at the strategic plan, looking at the movement for your company? Better yet, when was the last time you actually had a strategic plan developed, a real plan? I have seen plans that have a bunch of words on the paper, no key performance indicators, no key performance questions, no budget, no action steps. I have seen 100-page strategic plans that have no implementation at all. And I'm sitting here like, we just killed all these trees for what? Why did we do this? How are we going to implement? And when we start asking the how, right? How, when you position that how the right way, it begins to open your mind and you start realizing, oh, snap. Oh, snap. I think we done did it now. Right? All right. So if you step back, looking at your strategy, strategic planning is not like some set it and forget it type thing. It's not like something that you like pop in and just rolls out. You got to work it. You have got to work it. You have got to put your hand on it. You've got to work it, put it to motion. You've got to talk about it. You've got to implement it. You've got to monitor it. Guess what? You have got to make the adjustments to pivot it. It's not a set it and forget it thing. And once you have attained the goal for what you were going for, you have to now set the next motion in place. You have to now set the next strategy in place. Not only are you doing that, but you have to maintain what you have achieved. So when I tell you normalizing and simplifying strategic planning is like, I just gum it up. I absolutely love it. When I tell you I love it, I mean, I love it. I love strategy. I love strategic planning. I love making sure that you are clear about what you're doing. I want people to make decisions with eyes wide open. You need to know what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. Your strategy, your strategic plan for your business is going to help you to understand what to say yes and no to with confidence, not with guilt. Okay, not through manipulation, but with confidence. Why you say yes and why you say no to something and what you're going for. When you sit down and you look at it every quarter, you look at the plan, you look at the budget, you look at the finances, you look at the rollout. When you sit there and you look at what it is that you see, you can track it back to this is what we were striving for, right? All right, guys, there you have it. Strategic planning on a high level, just opening your mind to it. And you know what? If you need your chief visionary to come and support a conference, to come to your company to do strategy, or if you need me to come speak or do some training at your corporation, go ahead and connect with your chief visionary, Natasha Davis. You can schedule a power chat right there. Link is on the screen. You can go to impactbrandingconsultant.org and you can schedule a power chat so we can talk about some things. Okay. And don't forget, if you are one of my replay team, don't forget to put hashtag replay team in the chat so I can show you some love. I want you to really respect strategy. It is the anchor, and it is really the anchor to your business, to the anchor to your success. Even in your personal life, we don't realize how much we use strategy in our personal life, but we neglect it in our business life. Why? Why? Right? All right, guys. Blessings upon blessings. One love, one heart. Love you much, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place. And don't forget to bring a friend with you. Talk to you later. All right. You know, my mouse want to act up. See, that's what happens when you go live. This is some disrespectful stuff, but I guess you want me to stay and talk to you some more. All right, guys. Blessings to you. I'll talk to you later.